Hi, I'm Samantha Prentice, and this is my video presentation for my government class. The video is just going to be about a senator that I wrote my report about. His name is Richard Shelby, and he is the senator for Alabama. So before I kind of go into who he is, just to kind of give you an idea of what it is that he actually does, I'm going to briefly discuss what the Senate is. So essentially, the legislative branch voters from each state, there's a group of people, and they get together and they cast a vote to decide which of the senators, because each state gets their amount of senators, and one gets chosen to represent in Congress, in the House of Senators. So in the Senate, there is an equal representation from each state based on size or population. It is not based on size or population. No, it's not. So it doesn't affect how many states each senator a state gets. So pretty much every state gets the same amount of senators as each other, so it's kind of fair representation. So the House doesn't lean in favor of bigger states, so it can be the same playing field for everybody. These selected men and women are selected every 6 years. The elections are staggered so that both senators from a state are not elected at the same time. So it's not like crazy, like these people voting, people leaving, people coming in, just kind of makes it all flow. One function of the Senate, they have powers in office, and what they can do is they can approve or reject treaties and presidential nominations for government offices. So they oversee that. Not just anyone can become a U.S. Senator, though. It's not just you walk in and be like, hey, I want to do this. No. You have to go through a process, and you have to meet certain criteria. So luckily, the Constitution provides the specific qualifications a candidate must have in order to run. You must be at least 30 years old. You have to have been a U.S. citizen for 9 years and have fulfilled the requirements for residency in the state that person wishes to represent. So, in order to represent a state, you have to have lived in it for a certain amount of time, which makes sense. So, again, the person that I will be talking about, the senator, is a senator from Alabama, Mr. Richard Shelby. Give you a bit of background information on him. He was born in Alabama, Birmingham, May 6th, 1934, to Presidents Alice L. Skinner and Ozzie Houston Shelby. Currently married to a wife, Annette Nevin. They have 2 kids together. Their kids had kids. So he's got a good-sized family. Back when he was younger, he played high school football. He used that to get a scholarship at University of Alabama, where he got his undergraduate degree in 1957, and he got a Juris Doctor in 1963. Which led him, all in all, to have a career in law, where he then made the jump into politics. Usually most lawyers enter politics. He served as a city prosecutor from 1963 to 1971. He was a special assistant state attorney general, a member of the Alabama State Senate in 1970, serving until 1978. Then he moved on up to the House of Representatives from the Tuscaloosa-based 7th District, where he was reelected 3 times. In '86, he won the Democratic nomination for the Senate seat previously held by Republican Jeremiah Denton, the first Republican elected to the Senate from Alabama since the Reconstruction era. However, he beat that guy, and he won the race under the Democratic Party. And he was noted, however, as a very conservative Democrat, which later on, a few years down the road, he switched from being affiliated with the Democratic Party over to the Republican Party. Which just so happened to be the day after the Republicans won control of both houses in the midterm elections. He won his first full term as a Republican in 1998 by a large margin. So he was pretty popular and faced no significant opposition in 2004. He's definitely shown that through hard work and perseverance, going to school, getting the right job, and doing what you need to do, you can have a good, successful political career. So, continuing with his career in politics in the state of Alabama, we'll go a little bit kind of into the background of Alabama, just to kind of get a feel for what they're like, what their economy is like, and so you can kind of get a feel for what it takes to be a senator for this state, like what they would be looking for. So in the state of Alabama, as you can kind of maybe guess, the ruling party is Republican Party. Republican senator, Republican Party majority in the state, and has been for decades. The economy, mostly 82% relies on agriculture. So that's livestock, such as cattle, calves, chickens, crops like cotton and corn, things like that, peaches, sweet potatoes, a lot of food and stuff from the earth that you can grow. And also manufacturing is another big industry for them, for steel. They make a lot of trucks, airplanes, military vehicles, stuff like that. They also have gasoline that they get naturally. It looks basically like its scenery, the state's scenery varies from mountainous areas to a beautiful beach on the Gulf Coast of Mexico. So you can get different kinds of scenery in one state. It's kind of nice. Because of its location, the state is known to have subtropical climates, which make for hot summers but not very cold winters, which is normal for the southern region of the United States. So politically, back to Richard Shelby, he has had some goals and some bills and regulations that he has wanted to get passed in his career as senator. He has not wasted his time just sitting in his seat playing, doodling on paper. He's actually tried to do stuff. So Shelby made use of his time to sponsor some bills. During the 112th Congress, a couple of bills were put forward by him. On June 15th, 2011, he proposed to provide a disaster tax relief that would help out all the southern states affected by, at the time, a lot of natural disasters. It had 9 Republican co-sponsors and 3 Democrat co-sponsors. While they wanted to help people, it unfortunately did not get passed. He also had another bill that he wanted to put forward to help the economy in September of 2011. It required a raise in economic analysis and justification of regulations proposed by the federal banking system. Pretty much he just wanted to crack down on who's getting granted to do this and spend this there. So more controlling the funds and making sure they get put to better use and making sure they're not wasted. He also had another act which kind of hit close to home for him, which involved farming, agriculture, a big thing in Alabama, as we kind of briefly went over. The same applies to this bill. So he's kind of going back to his roots a little bit. He had the act that he proposed on March 21st, 2012, which was called Preserving America's Family Farm Act, and that was to protect the agricultural industry to prevent children from gaining the valuable work experience and earning money and stuff. Pretty much what the government was trying to do at the time was limit child labor in agriculture, and he was saying you don't want to do that because it takes away from their life experiences, and it is a valuable lesson for hard work, dedication, and in Alabama, since agriculture is so important, you need as many hands to help you on the field as you can get. So he was trying to make sure that didn't get locked down too hard. This bill got, out of the past two that I talked about, got the most people on board. I had about 44 people co-sponsoring. 39 of that number were Republicans, and 5 of that number were Democrats. So another thing is, in order to have financial contributors, plays a big role in if you can be a senator or not, because you can't run a campaign if you don't have a way of getting money to pay for it. So he had some sponsors that helped him along the way. One was he had help from a traveler company called it was a company called Travelers Companies, and that was essentially an insurance agency. And then he had Morgan and Chase give him some money, and mainly it was a lot of banks and insurance companies that were supporting him, giving him the thumbs up, which shows what he stands for, which is by having a bank sponsoring him, it shows that he wants to focus on money, and by having insurance agencies sponsor him, it kind of shows that he's interested in helping people as well. So definitely the people he surrounds himself with and involves his politics with reflects his Alabama upbringing, I feel like. And overall, the state of Alabama thrives on agricultural economy. He appears to be a good Richard Shelby appears to be a good representation in Washington, D.C., and he has a lot of good bills that he attempted to get passed, but not all of them got through. He had some significant financial contributors that helped him in his political career, and overall he's been successful in what he's done, and he was a representative of the Republican Party. He is still currently in office. He is going to be going through the re-election, or attempting to be re-elected in 2016. So he's still got a while before he has. So he's still got a while in office to make a difference. And that's my video report. Thank you for watching.